What's going on, everybody? Blake Chancey back for another video. Hope you guys are enjoying the content so far. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I really appreciate it. This video, I've been a little bit slow to post anything about it. It's really awful situation that's going on right now for a lot of people in the Richmond area, and that's very close to me. I'm in Tawasin. I grew up in Ladner, so Richmond is basically like a second home to me. I've been there millions of times in my life. So let's get into it. Let's talk about one of the biggest stories in British Columbia right now. Honestly, one of the most complicated ones too. A recent BC Supreme Court ruling could have massive long-term consequences for homeowners here in BC, and the ripple effects, they could reshape how we think about property ownership in Canada entirely. But I'm going to break it down for you in a way that actually makes sense, because right now the conversation out there is confusing at best and fear-mongering at its absolute worst. So let's unpack that as best that I can. I hope that this helps. So let's start with the ruling. Earlier this year, the BC Supreme Court ruled that 7.5 square kilometers of land along the Fraser Valley is covered by Aboriginal title. It's not rural crown land, not a remote area nobody's ever heard of. No, it's urban land, and not just any land. Land that includes about 150 privately owned properties. And that's where this really becomes different from anything we've seen before. So usually Aboriginal title cases involve crown land, land that isn't really already being used or lived on. There's no mortgages. It's not improved. It's not used for farmland, anything like that whatsoever. But this time we have a situation where the private properties now technically have two overlapping titles. So a freehold title and an Aboriginal title. Some experts say that this is legally impossible, and some say it's fine. Most people say, what the heck does that even mean? And honestly, they're not wrong. It's a very confusing situation. The don't worry about it argument, it's ridiculous. A lot of people online are saying that, relax, nobody's getting kicked out of their home. Nobody's taking anybody's condo or homes, but the media is blowing up for clicks. But this isn't clickbait. This is serious issues. Like, if you go back to a Richmond city meeting recently, there's real homeowners in there that have owned property for 30 years. They're like, we've been paying property tax on this for the last 30 years. And now I can't even go to get a mortgage renewal when it's time with my bank. Like, this is a massive issue, guys. The leadership involved has publicly stated they're not planning to challenge the validity of any privately held titles. They've said that they're not trying to evict anyone or claim people's houses. Great. Reassuring? Not really. Because here's the thing. What they haven't said is that homeowners would face zero impact. They've only said that your ownership status isn't being challenged. Those are two very different things. So here's what homeowners have actually heard. Back on October 28th, the city of Richmond held an information session. They even mailed letters to the affected homeowners. Quite frankly, they didn't give them enough time. The people in Richmond are absolutely pissed off right now, and fair enough. Here's the wording. Honestly, if you got this letter, your stomach would drop immediately, and I feel sick for them too. I'm having a tough time talking about this. So it said that the ruling may compromise the status and validity of your ownership. Imagine getting that in the mail. No wonder why town hall got heated at that meeting. People were angry, confused, and demanding answers, and they didn't really get any. Real people are feeling this right now. One Vancouver Sun article talked about a local farmer. Bought a farm back in 2016. Spends $40,000 to $50,000 a year maintaining and operating it. Planned to invest even more to rebuilding the house. Now he's frozen. Doesn't want to put another dollar into that land that suddenly has a legal shadow over it. And he's not alone. There are people that have lived in their homes for 40, 50, 60 years who are suddenly wondering, what happens now? Can I sell? Will banks give me a mortgage? Will buyers even touch us? And probably not to all of those. Those are all fair questions right now with this kind of thing going on. So the immediate and real world impacts that we're seeing, let's talk about the immediate effects, because these are parts that matter today, right now. So number one is financing. Banks absolutely hate uncertainty. It's not personal. It's just how the system works. Right now, it looks like lenders are hesitant to issue new mortgages on these affected properties. Some renewals, but definitely new mortgages. You're not going to get a new mortgage right now, I don't think. And why? It's because the title isn't clean. They don't like the risk, and this is pure legal structural risk. Imagine applying for financing and a bank sees freehold title and Aboriginal title on the same property. It doesn't make sense. You can't blame them for going, we need to take a second look at this, and yeah, we're probably not going to touch this with a 10-foot pole. And if buyers aren't getting financing, then sellers can't sell. It's simple. So that leads to number two, property value. If you're a buyer and you can confidently purchase one of these properties, probably not. unless you're getting a serious discount to compensate for the unknown. But I wouldn't advise any single person to buy one of those properties right now. And why would you? Like, it's ridiculous. So that means on paper, these properties have already lost value compared to similar homes nearby that don't have this legal cloud over them. And until this gets settled, which could take years, these owners are basically stuck, and I really feel for them. Imagine you've been in this property for 50 years and you're planning your retirement, and now your property could technically be worth nothing. It fires me up. This is very difficult. I'm really feeling for these homeowners. So the First Nation involved basically said, let's talk, let's negotiate, let's do what the court suggested. But the province of BC and city of Richmond, they want to appeal instead. Why? Because if they can negotiate this case, they get to set a precedent. And suddenly half of the province could be negotiating similar cases. Remember, huge parts of BC, including parts of Metro Vancouver, sit on land that could be contested. So if that door opens up, it's going to be a whole can of worms. Now, I mean, the media loves this story, maybe a little too much, but if you're a homeowner in BC, this stuff matters and it is scary, and the media knows it. So they run the headlines like $100 million project denied because of Aboriginal land ruling. But then you read full articles and you see the bank said that the ruling had zero impact. The city councilor said he thinks it did. That opinion became the headline. This is where we all need to slow down and be diligent. And that's probably why it's taken me so long to get this video up. So a headline is not a fact. An interpretation is not a fact. And a political comment is definitely not a fact, as we all know. So here's a few things to keep in mind. Here are the key takeaways based on everything that we actually know today. Number one, this case has been moving through the courts for nearly a decade. We are only at the BC Supreme Court stage. Appeals could take years. Number two, this is not the final ruling. Parts of it could change. Parts of it could be completely reversed entirely. Number three, similar cases have happened. They just never involve private homes. That's why this one's getting a ton of attention, and as it should. Number four, homeowners were absolutely blindsided in this situation. They weren't notified their land was even being discussed in court. That's a huge failure in communication from every single part of government. Number five, nobody, not the city, not the province, not the court, has clear answers, which honestly is probably the most frustrating part for the people that are living through this right now. Number six, more cases like this could appear in the future. That's just the reality of the legal landscape in British Columbia. So my final thoughts, look, this is a real estate channel. I don't pretend to be a legal expert on Aboriginal title, constitutional law, or land claims. I'm a realtor, a property owner, and somebody who cares deeply about helping people navigate this crazy market. And this is a major real estate story in our province, and I really, truly feel so close to it. Like South Alta, Ladner, and Tsawwassen are neighbors with Richmond. I used to have to go to Richmond just to go get remote controls for a homeowner, for a garage remote when we get possession of the property. I used to go to Richmond all the time before the mall's here, and that's on Aboriginal land now here in Tsawwassen. So with that said, please do your own homework. Don't depend on the headlines. Read the details. Pay attention to the appeals. And don't let fear drive your decisions. Get the hard facts. Make up your own mind on whatever the heck you're going to do. But I'm really hoping the best for all these property owners that are affected by this right now. The situation is serious, and it's also very long. It's going to be drawn out. It's super complex. And situations like this rarely end exactly how they start. So as this continues to unfold, I'll try to keep you updated. If you found this helpful, hit that like button. It helps a ton. Like I said in my last video, I'm super excited to have you all here continuing on with me in this journey. I'll try to post as much as I possibly can to help give back to all of you as the consumers out there. Really appreciate it. If you're leaving a comment, try to keep it respectful. This is a very sensitive topic. Let's not get heated. Let's keep the conversation productive. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm Blake Chancey with Real Broker. Peace.